Hi there, my name is Brooks from Character Design Forge. This is part 2 of my introduction to shape design. You can click the annotation on the screen or the link in the description to watch part 1, where we talk about round shapes. So we're moving on to the square motif. I want to remind you that we're using a lot of these examples as instances and not as absolutes. So what do we mean when we call someone a square? Well, usually it means that they're boring, that there isn't anything exciting about them. Compared to a character that we are using round shapes and curves to create, this character is more traditionally masculine. Maybe in contrast to, they are less in touch with their emotions. Or they don't think as emotionally. Now, when I say masculine, this is not to say that only male characters can represent this. For example, Garnet from Steven Universe is rather masculine. Now, obviously there are some round shapes in this design, but overall the shapes here are square. So boring or unemotional are a few things that you can convey, but they're kind of negative, right? Well, square shapes can also convey stability. Garnet has a calm head, and is in many ways the leader of the group in that show, and the other characters oftentimes rely on Garnet. Well, square heroes can also convey heroism, more specifically, established heroism. Now, obviously, Superman is not made up completely of squares. There are some round and angular shapes within his design. But overall, in this animated series version of his design, he has a cape that hangs in the shape of a square. He has a chiseled square jawline and head shape. He has a wide barrel chest that's very rectangular. All of these are intentional decisions on the part of Bruce Timm, who designed this. What else do we know about Superman? Well, we know that he stands for truth, justice, and up until recently, the American way. He dropped that one a few years ago. He's a defender of what's right. He is unwavering, he stands for what is right, and stands against what is wrong. He's the leader in many ways of the Justice League, and is able to make decisions of world-ending or saving importance. How about Carl Fredricksen? Well, he's an older man. He's extremely stubborn. You could call Superman stubborn too, but in a different way, right? Carl, for reasons that we learn about, is like many older people in that he's very set in his ways. His house he holds on to without budging from the threat of the construction company building directly next to him. Instead of being quick to feel for others or feel empathy for Russell, he's instead quick to dismiss, to sort of bah humbug. More than just his shape language go into conveying this about Carl, which we'll talk about more in upcoming lessons, but his strongly square head, jaw, body, bow tie, and glasses all help us to quickly understand this about him. On to the triangle. This last shape is the most interesting to me personally because there are a lot of different things that we can do with the triangle. First of all, you may have a triangle right side up to portray a heavy character, a bottom-heavy person that maybe doesn't let a lot affect him. On the other hand, you could have a triangle upside down to portray a devious or conniving, perhaps evil character. But just like with circles, we were talking more about round shapes, and with squares, we were talking about more muted or sturdy shapes and lines. With triangles, we're also thinking about angles. So you can use angles to convey someone who is stealthy or sneaky, perhaps conniving. Maybe they're leaned forward or hunched forward. They may not be made up of triangles, but that pose or stance of theirs is at an angle. Maybe you can use this to convey that they're fast or nimble. With Spider-Man, it's interesting. Other than maybe the triangles in the eyes of his mask, he isn't actually made up of triangles, but you notice he's always in poses like this. There are no straight horizontal or vertical lines. This helps represent that Spider-Man is a quick, nimble, agile character. You can also use this triangle and angle shape to show that someone just doesn't fit in. Maybe they're awkward and aren't accepted by the people around them. Quasimodo is full of angular shapes and actually a lot of triangles. His back is not perfectly symmetrical at all, it slopes down from one side to the other. His head and his nose are in the shape of a triangle and very lopsided. All of this conveys to us that he's an outcast. He doesn't fit in. Maybe they're the rogue archetype, the wanderer or loner. This could even be another kind of hero, the one who's becoming a hero. They're in the beginning of a hero's journey. So when you're designing a character, maybe you can start to see why I put such an emphasis on shape language. You're defining a lot about a character through silhouette and forms, and the stronger the shapes, the more you're making understood by an audience. Now, you've probably noticed that most of the example characters I used were obviously made up of more than one shape. So not only should you be using different combinations of these primary shapes, in tomorrow's video I'm going to go further in depth with regard to blending primary shapes into secondary ones, and how your designs will benefit from that. That's it from me today. I'm making new videos every day this month at characterdesignforge.com. Subscribing on YouTube will let you know when new videos are available. I'm always interested to hear your thoughts and questions with regard to art and character design, so send me a message or leave me a comment. Thank you for watching, and have fun creating.